here in the front row on the left.
This is John Warner, Waco Tribune Hero. This is for Adam. What have you guys been working on the last few days, and do you kind of feel like this is a fresh start for you guys?
Yeah, I definitely think it's a fresh start, for everybody coming into this tournament. It's a new beginning, new opportunities. So, we've just been trying to focus on each other, being connected out there. We had a great group of, practice days where we could compete and get back to the basics and do things that, show our identity when we come out on the court. So,
Here in the middle on the right.
It's Kyle Newman from the Denver Post. This one's for Adam as well. In terms of Flo, what is his legacy coming into this tournament in terms of program history? He's the all-time winningest player in program history. What does he do for this team, and what is his legacy?
You kind of answered it yourself, to be honest, with all the accolades and everything he's done for Baylor, with his energy, his leadership, and how he carries himself and he approaches every game, as it is his last. We just want to go out there, including myself, go out there and play for one another. And, he's our anchor, to be honest. So anytime he's locked in and he's flying around out there, everybody's going to feel it. The fans are going to love it. And, we feel like if he goes out there and gives it his all, we have an opportunity to go far in this tournament. So,
Right here in the second row on the right.
Tyler King, Denver Gazette. This question is also for Adam. What's the similarities between you guys from 2 years ago to now? You guys are similarly really good offensively. What similarities do you see between the team that won the championship 2 seasons ago and this current team?
I would say just kind of the situation. I know going into the tournament that year, we lost, in the Big 12 tournament against Oklahoma State, and we just lost against Iowa State. So it's an opportunity to regroup. We had a great group of great days where we could practice and hone in on the things that we needed to. So I think the situation is similar, but it's two different teams, and we want to make our own identity and make our own statement out here this year. So.
Far right against the screen over on the right.
Keyonte, one for you. Sean Keeler of the Denver Post here. I don't know if you've seen or even following this here in the tournament mode, but there's talk about this being the last year for kids who might be one-and-dones from the NBA and the next level. As someone who's had to make those decisions, how would that change your mindset if you're a high school kid, say a year ago now, and you're looking at, should I go to school? Should I go pro? How is that going to change? And Adam, if you want to weigh in on this too, please feel free. How do you think that's going to change high schoolers' minds who may be thinking about an NBA career?
Some kids have the opportunity to do that, and, they feel like they have what it takes, and you can't hold them back. But me personally, I love the college scene. Bonding with a group of guys, you got older guys, younger guys, it's, different cultures on the team, and, I love college just for, March, this time of the year. It's exciting, and it also gets you to, I feel like college prepares you a lot more. So, my personal opinion, I feel like every player should have this type of experience, but, if they have that, the talent to, go ahead and skip this, then, you can't hold them back. So.
We're down here in the second row on the left.
Yeah, Keyonte, this one's for you. Michael Haig, Baylor Lariat, you kind of touched on it a little bit, just the excitement level of March. This is your first experience with this. What are you maybe looking to showcase? Is this, maybe the best national stage to be able to showcase what you got?
Yeah, definitely. We always talk about, God gives us a platform, and, we don't want to take advantage of it. So, I'm going to do everything in my power to go out there, play hard. My main focus is winning. When you have that mindset, you don't care about the points, care about yourself. So we have that culture, and, others just before yourself. And, that's just been my mindset coming in, to this tournament.
In the middle.
Hey, Adam, Pat Graham from the Associated Press. I guess the Big 12 is one of the last 2 tournaments. What about the Big 12 kind of prepares you for moments like this?
The talent is there. It's obvious. The toughness, the coaching staffs, I think, from top to bottom in the league, I feel like we have the best of the best conference. So any game, every game, away or home, is a battle. And when you play in March Madness, every game is win or go home. So I think a lot of teams in the Big 12 see it as that when we go on the road or when we're playing home games. Every game matters for standings or for Big 12 regular season and for preparation for postseason as well. So.
Front row on the left.
It's for Keyonte. You guys got here a little early to acclimate. How are you guys acclimating? Do you feel like that's a pretty good idea?
Yeah. Like you said, we got here early, and I feel like we've, all the guys have taken advantage of being here early. Our staff has, provided us with the, the resources that we need to, play at our highest level and be 100%. So, like you said, we've really locked in and took advantage of being down here early.
Second row on the right.
It's for Keyonte. I'm just curious what you remember about the 2021 Baylor team that won it all, and if that had any influence on your decision to come to Baylor, and kind of if that motivates you to recreate some of those memories in your freshman year.
Yeah, I remember where I was at, watching the national championship game, and I kind of during that moment in time, I kind of knew where I wanted to be at, and I kind of I said that put the icing on the cake. The 3 guards that they had, and then Flag was a part of that team, and I just want to go somewhere where it was kind of older group of guys, and just want to take advantage of the opportunity, playing next. The guys like LJ and Flag, but like you said, it was an exciting team, and I feel like we can do the same. So, but we got to take it one day at a time. So it should be fun.
On the left towards the back.
Keyonte, John Morris, Baylor Radio. Along those same lines, do you have any particular memories of March Madness growing up? Any games, teams, anything stand out in your mind?
I mean, the most recent one is, when Baylor won, that Duke team with Zion and R.J. Barrett. That was a fun team. So that's probably the most memorable.
Down here in the second row.
Yeah, Adam, I see you have your beanie on. Was it kind of weird to have to pack some warm clothes for this trip coming from Texas?
I've never been to Colorado, so I'm thankful, to be able to travel and basketball take me places. But, regardless of where we're put, we're excited to be able to play. Everybody doesn't get this opportunity to play in March Madness, but I definitely packed for the weather. So, yeah.
The front row here on the left.
This is for Adam. Coach Drew mentioned the other day about some of you guys transferred from smaller schools, so you probably understand the kind of the mentality of the guys you're going to be facing, kind of the underdog. Can you maybe just talk a little bit about that and respecting a team like Cal Santa Barbara?
Yeah, we definitely respect, Cal Santa Barbara. We want to give credit where credit is due. They have high caliber guys, a great coaching staff over there, and we know that we can't take this for granted at the end of the day. So our attention to detail and everything is just as if we're playing, the best team in the country at this point. So we're real excited for the opportunity, but they fought, endlessly to get here. I know they have to do a certain bid, just like, the smaller schools when I was at Presbyterian. So I know they're going to have to fight, but we have to be the toughest team out there and go out there and compete and have the most energy. So.
On the right, second row.
That's for Adam. I'm just curious what you learned last season during the tournament, the loss to North Carolina, and what kind of takeaways you guys can bring into this season.
I think the main thing that I learned was, the team that's most connected out there is going to win, and at that time, North Carolina had a lot of momentum, and they were connected and flying around out there, just having fun. And, we weren't, and probably until that second half, to be honest. So if we can just, put emphasis on going out there, playing for one another, and having fun, because this opportunity doesn't come for everybody. And I felt like we went out there kind of taking it for granted, especially in that first half, and they smacked us in the mouth. So I'm excited. I'm thankful that I'm back here and I have an opportunity to play with these guys and, have a different feeling at the end of the season. So
We'll go in the back left.
Adam, a lot of people say it, but do you feel like there is a reset button that you hit when you start the NCAA tournament?
I definitely think so. Nothing before this really matters at the end of the day, with the neutral siding and just opportunity to play in one game, dictates everything at this point. So anything that you did before this doesn't matter, and we just have, that utmost excitement to go out there and just play hard and put everything out on the line for this one game. So,
The right side in the middle.
Adam and Keyonte, both of you, how did this offense and the team chemistry change when John returned to the lineup from his injury, and how rewarding was that as teammates to see him? I know he went through a couple surgeries and it was a long ordeal for him.
It was amazing, to see the amount of work that he's put in, and we were ecstatic to see him out there. He definitely provides a different type of energy. His ability to shoot three as well, provides some scouting adjustments for a lot of the teams, and we try to do our best to pick and choose, when we're passing it and making him that key, target for teams that may not be accustomed to it, as well as when he's rolling and he's finishing around the rim. His toughness and his size and everything is something that was an addition, to our team at this point with Flo, Josh, Zach, and now John. We have more depth at the big man lineup. So.
Okay, we'll go online to our Zoom connection. If there are any media who have questions, please use the raise hand function. Okay, seeing none, any last questions for the student athletes before we dismiss them? All right, gentlemen, thank you. Good luck.
Thank you, guys.
All right, we'll continue with Baylor coach Scott Drew. Coach, make an opening remark.
Well, it's always a blessing to be a part of March Madness. It's the best time of year if you're a college basketball fan, player, coach. And during that month, unbelievable highs, unbelievable lows, but you got to thank God every time you get an opportunity to be a part of it. I love this team, excited to see what we can do in March. And obviously, each and every year it seems like the parity's in an all-time high, but that's what makes March Madness so great.
Okay, we'll take questions for Coach. Again, raise your hand. We'll get you a handheld microphone. Please identify yourself and your affiliation. Second row here on the right.
Hey, Scott. Tyler King with the Denver Gazette. Just curious what kind of similarities you see between this team and your 2021 team. Obviously, you guys have a really good offense again. And Adam was saying that, getting bounced in the Big 12 tournament early on like you did that year could also serve as a motivation for you guys.
Well, I think the thing that stands out right away is the offensive production at the guard spot. The year we won it all, this year, a lot of similarities as far as offensive talent. I think it's great having Flo and John in the interior that have national championship experience as well. But at the end of the day, that team was in the tournament defended at an elite level, and we're capable of that, and hopefully we can do that.
Front row on the left.
John Orner, Waco Tribune Hero. Scott, you guys got here a little early. I guess you may be acclimating a little, and how are the rebounding drills going?
Well, we got here early to make sure you didn't get stranded on a mountain hiking or anything, so we did our job. We like the 70-degree weather better than the snow, but it's great to get to the site and get focused, be with the group. As far as we had a great couple days of practice leading up to this, and praise God, no one got injured. So that's the most important thing. We got better and didn't lose anybody. So excited to see how much we've improved come Friday.
We'll go to the fourth row on the right.
Scott, Kyle Newman with the Denver Post. You mentioned Flo and John. How has the offense changed since John got back? And then just the chemistry between them, and how are you kind of utilizing both of those guys in different but same roles?
Well, to start with, John, because of his injury, was able to spend a lot of time just working on his shot and his passing. And his skill level is really improved. So now you get a stretch big, someone who can shoot 40, 50% from three, and that opens up the offense. At the same time, it allows Flo and John both to compete harder and leave more out there and not worry as much about foul trouble because they have each other.
We'll go to the back in the middle.
Hey, Scott. Richie Casalino with CBS Sports Colorado. Your brother Bryce is also here in Denver.
Yeah.
Curious the conversations you guys have had, and are you making any time for family this week?
Yeah, so I was able to see him last night before their team meeting, and that's a huge blessing. Made it real easy for my mom and dad, and they're getting up in age, so it's harder for them to travel. So going to one spot is a lot easier, and the biggest thing was in the bracket. It was a blessing we didn't have to play each other. So we can cheer for each other, and hopefully we can stay around together.
We'll go second row on the right.
Scott, Paul Warner with the Victory Bell. Piggybacking on that, it has been 25 years since the shot, and the first victory in the NCAA tournament. Just when you think about that number, what does that mean to you, the silver anniversary of that?
25 years makes me feel a lot older, and you can't believe how quick time flies. At the same time, an unbelievable March Madness memory, and something that a lot of times your biggest moments, you want to share them with family, and I was able to do that with my dad being the head coach, my brother being there, and whenever I see that, it's a blessing. And again, 25 years, it's amazing how quick time flies, and I know the older we all get, we all say the same thing about how life moves, and that's why I just thank God every time you get an opportunity to be a part of March Madness. Tomorrow's never promised for any of us.
In terms of that, we
On the left-hand side here.
we all saw the story on Twitter yesterday. When you find out that Grand Canyon doesn't have their uniforms, who makes the call to offer up Baylor jerseys, and how that all go down?
Well, we charge them by the hour, so but yeah, whatever we can do to help. And actually, we were in that situation once. We went to Syracuse. I think it was 06, 05, something like that, and our uniform shoes didn't show up, so they were gracious enough to let us use their stuff, and ours got there just in time for the game. Otherwise, it had been Syracuse versus Syracuse. So anyway, normally that doesn't happen nowadays with charter flights, but I was glad Big Brother was able to help if they needed whatever they needed.
We'll go on the right, third row.
Jim Meehan, Spokesman Review. How often is Bryce calling for info on Gonzaga since your success the last couple of meetings? And then a scouting report on his pickleball ability with you and Mark.
Yeah, so Roger Powell was with my brother, and they've been great friends. So I know they, and same with us, we know a lot about each other's program. It's tough when you play that person, but other than that, you always cheer for them. I know both staffs really respect one another, and obviously the toughest decision was who Coach Few was going to choose as a partner. I'm a great recruiter, so I recruited him right away. My dad and brother were going to take us on if we had time, but we didn't have time to get it in.
Second row on the left.
Yeah, hey Scott, Michael Haig with the Baylor Lariat. Do you have an update on Langston Love and his status for tomorrow?
Be a game time decision, but he has been able to go through practice, so that's a positive.
Far right.
Scott, Jeff Legwald, ESPN. Just going back down memory lane a little bit to your brother's shot. That moment sort of introduced a lot of people to your dad.
Yeah.
Maybe the casual fan, but how often do people ask him, you, Bryce, about that play, just as you go?
I know they get asked a lot more than I do. At the same time, I know my dad, a Hall of Fame coach, and it was great that Valpo's platform grew a lot, and people were able to see just what God was able to do with Valpo's program. And my dad is somebody that doesn't care about any accolades, awards. He just wants to serve his players, and always has, always does, and still does to this day, helping them with jobs or marital career advice, anything. But it was great as a big brother to see your little brother hit that shot, and it was great to see people talk positive about your dad. And again, when you talk about iconic moments, when you see that, my first thought is, dang, that's what it looks like when I had more hair. My dad had hair, and my brother was a pup. But again, that's what makes March Madness so special. You have opportunities to have those great moments.
Right down here in the front row on the left.
Scott, some of your guys have quite a bit of NCAA tournament experience. How does that help, and especially with them being able to kind of relay what to expect to the other guys?
Well, I think players' experience, player leadership is always more important than coaches. And why I say that is 18 to 23-year-olds listen to each other, and peer pressure is much more important than what coaches say. So have an upperclassman that can say this is what we need to do and why we need to do it. That means more than me saying it. And I know we have great upperclassman leadership. And going back to memory lane, one thing that's ironic is none of our guys were born when my brother hit that shot. So that makes me feel real old.
We'll go to the right, second row.
Bryce hits that shot, but the indelible image is the dog pile, and Jared Nunez is on top of that dog pile. It's a
Yeah.
great photo. Jared is a first-year assistant with you, but he's been with you for 13 years. Just talk a little bit about Jared, what he's brought to your program, and what he's meant as an assistant coach this year on the floor.
Well, first it showed his intelligence because he got on top of the pile, and you knew he was going to be a good coach from that. The second thing is Jared's somebody that, tremendous with people, and because of his relationship skills, it lends to someone who's going to be really successful in whatever profession he chooses. God gave him a great ability and understanding for basketball and passion for it, and he's been a great contributor to our program and a big reason why we've had the success we've had.
Return to the left side here, third row.
Coach over here. What's unique about UCSB in the way that they play basketball? And is there an opponent on your schedule where you kind of pinpoint and say, okay, they kind of did a little bit of this that we can pull from?
Well, I think first, because of film nowadays, Synergy, you get a chance to get a feel and analytics for there's no stone unturned when any opponent you play. I think especially because of COVID, you have, again, more parity in college basketball because people get granted that extra year, and they have a lot of players that have had, first of all, experience, second of all, been at different levels in college, such as Cal and Temple and Oregon. But it starts with their coaching staff. They do a great job in developing and creating a winning program. I think it's the third winningest program in California in the last 6 years. And their style of play, very deliberate on the offensive end, and they usually get high percentage shots. And then defensively, very sound, really good team defense. And tournament, you find out more about other names that you probably haven't heard, but Mitchell, their point guard, is somebody that most college coaches all know about, and big conference player of the year, and 6'5" point guard, pro prospect. So someone that really does a great job facilitating for everyone else on the team.
Go ahead, continue.
Sorry, quick follow-up. On a day where both you and Bryce coach in the same place, parents bring both shirts? Does one of them wear Baylor, one of them wear Grand Canyon?
That's a great question. That's something we probably need to ask my dad. We've scrimmaged Bryce before, and my dad wore neutral colors, so he actually thinks about that stuff. Because Bryce and I would call him out, just so you know. But I'd assume it'd be 1 and 1 or both the same. But hopefully they got a lot to smile about Friday rather than a tough day.
Second row on the right.
Scott Keyonte was in here saying that the championship you guys won 2 years ago was kind of the icing on the cake for his decision to come to Baylor. How excited are you for him to experience this tournament, and how important is it going to be for him to be at his best for you guys to advance?
Well, I mean, he's somebody that's had huge games for us, and at the same time, there's things that you don't always see in the stat sheet that show up in plus minus and other things. And with his improved defense and rebounding, those two things will probably be more important than his scoring from the standpoint. He's a gifted scorer, but in this tournament, you don't defend, you don't rebound, you don't stay, and his ability to do both of those can really help our team.
All right, we'll check online for the Zoom connection for any questions from the media. If you do have a question, please use the raise hand function.
That's one of the perks of COVID, Zoom questions.
Well, hearing none on Zoom, we'll go back to the room. Any last questions for Coach? Okay, hearing none, that'll do it. Coach, thank you.
Guys.
Good luck.
Thank you, sir. Man, I remember that like